organization that was registered on 9th of June 2008. Together, together we gather here to celebrate our Foundation Day. With me on the dais are Dr. E. Sridharan, known as the pioneer who revolutionized the face of public transport. Dr. Sridharan has led projects for building the Konkan Railway, Calcutta Railway, Cochin Shipyard, Delhi Metro, and Lucknow Metro project. With honors like Padma Shri and Padma Vibhushan, he holds the distinguished honor of being appointed to serve the UN level High Advisory Group on Sustainable Transport. We are extremely grateful to Sir for heading our organization. We have with us Mr. Gopal Ganesh, a senior IS officer. Mr. Ganesh has to his credit several years of distinguished service. He is also the vice president of FRNV. Mr. Prem Arora, a mechanical engineer from IIT Delhi. Mr. Arora has several years of experience in road resurfacing, real estate, and hydro. He is currently serving as the treasurer of FRNV. Mr. Sunil Sinha, with a bachelor in law and an MBA to his credit, Mr. Sinha has served at the Indian Railway Personal Service. He is currently working as a general manager HR at DMRC and is on our MC. Mr. Ashwini Kumar is the Joint Secretary of Foundation for Restoration of National Values and is also the convener of the National Value Education Task Force of FRNV. He was previously the director of UT Starcom Network and has over 26 years of experience in the communication industry. And lastly, Ms. Anupama Jha, the CEO of Foundation for Restoration of National Values. She joined us in July 2015 and was previously working as the Executive Director of Transparency International India Chapter. Her areas of expertise include governance, project management, training, and community intervention. May I please invite Mr. Gopal Ganesh to come.
Respected Shri Sridharanji, friends, ladies and gentlemen, it is my proud privilege to warmly welcome you all this evening to the Foundation Day celebrations of the FRNV, which stands for the Foundation for Restoration of National Values. As you have heard, this organization was registered on the 9th of June 2008. That's exactly 8 years ago to this day. This is all the first time that we are celebrating the Foundation Day in FRNV. Hopefully, we would be able to celebrate the Foundation Day every year in the future. For those who are unaware of what we are doing, let me give you a very brief description of our activities. The vision document of FRNV envisages that FRNV will strive to restore our time-tested national and cultural values so that people, individually as well as collectively, find an abiding inner persuasion to be truthful, ethical, patriotic, and committed to wholesome development of the nation. The solution to the value crisis lies in the inspiration provided by the three stable pillars on which independent India is vouched to rest firmly, namely the national motto, the national flag, and fundamental duties enshrined in the Constitution. Our national values consist of discipline, restraint, and the ideal to stimulate the consciousness of all, to eradicate inner constraints born of selfishness and greed, imbue a warm fondness for society and concern for the collective good, and build sufficient inner strength and character in the individual, family, and society as a whole. In pursuance of this vision document, FRNV had decided that it would be focused on the following 5 areas of national concern. 1. Electoral reforms, including political accountability. 2. Administrative reforms, including corporate integrity. Police reforms, national value-based education, hygiene, and cleanliness. Well, these, of course, have been in the beginning, but based on your suggestions, we could, however, think of adding a few more to this list. As you realize from the vision statement, these goals are such that they cannot be measured in terms of a narrow time frame like most other programs. Essentially, they constitute a sadhana, an inner development, a journey which is difficult and at the same time satisfying in itself. It would therefore be apt to describe what we are attempting to do is to better ourselves, our lives, and our nation by trying to influence the influencers to achieve these goals. Persuasion through dialogue and creation of public opinion are means by which we attempt to achieve our goals. Where these fail, we do approach the Supreme Court by filing a public interest petition. So far, we have had some success in our endeavors. I don't propose to go into these in any great length, but to only briefly mention the progress we have made in some of them. On value education, we have developed a curriculum and we have signed an MOU with Sri Ram Global School to understand the present value system in students and ascertain gaps in understand gaps that exist. We also propose to work with the government of Delhi to ascertain the impact of value-based education in the schools run by Delhi administration and ascertain what we could do to improve it. Today, we shall be releasing a journal which contains articles on what we are doing on value-based education and what we hope to do in future. On police reforms, we are working closely with organizations like CHRI to persuade state governments to follow Supreme Court's directives on a host of issues relating to reforms in the policing system. In particular, we are focusing on setting up a police complaints authority in the states to better redress grievances of the people. We have filed PILs in the Supreme Court against wasteful expenditure on government advertisements, stalling of parliament by political parties, and lack of disaster management preparedness. We have achieved moderate success in our endeavors to highlight these important issues facing the nation. We are also engaged in changing the mindsets of corporate houses so that ethical culture could be established in corporate enterprises. Towards this end, we recently held a one-day workshop entitled Leading Businesses with Ethics and Integrity. This was very well attended and appreciated by participants from corporate enterprises. We propose to hold several more training programs on ethics and integrity in corporate decision making, and these training programs would be held in the participating corporate enterprises themselves. On electoral reforms, we have made several initiatives to bring about legislative backing to implement the Code of Conduct during elections, preventing criminals from contesting elections, speedy disposal of election petitions, and reducing money power in elections. In addition to all these activities, we also propose to take up shortly sanitation and waste management as a project which would demonstrate the benefits of sanitation to the community. There are several areas which demand our attention. We have a few functional regional chapters, such as the one in Kerala and Jamshedpur. We aim for better communication and coordination with the regional chapters and also create such chapters in other states. Our membership needs to increase. We need greater participation from our members and friends. We have recently recast our website and we are now posting our monthly newsletter on time. We also need to harness the power of youth to further the objectives of the FRNV. We are indeed blessed to have Swami Bhumanandi Tirtha, who is the guiding spirit of our mentor, who continues to provide his blessings and guidance. We are fortunate to have with us our founder president, Dr. Sridharan, who is a true Karma Yogi. He gives us sufficient time and the benefit of his advice in running this organization despite his onerous duties even after retirement. We have an advisory board consisting of very eminent persons and a management committee which consists of persons from various backgrounds with deep commitment to our ideals. We have recently inducted a CEO and some staff for the FRNV, and they are all working to ensure the success of the mission that we have set for ourselves. We consider ourselves lucky to have the help of several volunteers who have given their time and energy to our programs. Nevertheless, an organization can only be as strong as the participation of its members. I therefore look forward to your valuable suggestions on the goals of the organization and the ways in which these can be fulfilled. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We shall now have a video message from Swami Bhumanand Tirtha.
Dear and blessed sons and daughters of Bharat, it is good that you are celebrating the founding day of FRNV. I think this is the first time that such a day is being observed. It is always good because it gives you a time for stock taking and also rejuvenate yourselves after the ideals and goals that we had set when we founded the institution. It was 8 years back that FRNV was founded. It is a very fortunate factor that we have a very good able advisory board consisting of members who have national recognition and reputation, whom the whole nation has certainly enough of adoration for. The government also has. Whenever we had approached people in the name of FRNV, the response has been very hearty and wholesome. Our advisory board continues to be so. We had taken up an assortment of national projects. It began with a 2-day national summit in Delhi, where the deliberations were very effective and successful. All of them were properly recorded, and we had sent copies to all the departmental heads, including the President of India, the Vice President, the Prime Minister, and all the ministers of the different departments, the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, then the Vice Chairman of Rajya Sabha, etc. Thereafter, our President Dr. Sridharan, along with others, had also met the Prime Minister of the time. It all went off well. The question necessarily arises, what is going to be the follow-up after the national summit? This question must be looking at you even now. I feel that 50% of our projects and schemes will have to be very broad-based and people-based. What do I mean by that? You will have to get cooperation, assistance and participation from a number of people from different sectors of the society. But 50% of our problems can be set right if we are able to approach the judiciary in various ways at proper times. There was a Supreme Court judge, I don't know whether his name is Jagannath Mishraji. He had invited me home, and during the course of the talks, he mentioned to me very clearly when I mentioned some of our national problems and struggles to be resolved. Swamiji, 50% of the problems can be resolved by the judiciary provided you put up the matter before us. When we start looking at it, we will find we can evolve case laws and all these problems can be resolved. That is always in my mind. In fact, this was the inspiration and compulsion for me to think of approaching the court in the form of PALs. We had already filed a few PALs, 1 or 2 were properly disposed of, others are still waiting for adjudication in the hands of the Supreme Court. Police reforms are one. Newspaper insertions using tax money, public tax money is another. Even against stalling the Parliament, we approached the Supreme Court in a very novel and singular manner. And many thinkers of the country have great regard for our having approached the Supreme Court. Though Supreme Court did not entertain the appeal in full, some of the remarks and statements which the judges made have themselves been very effective in setting right most of the behavior of the parliamentarians. We have written to the Speaker, we have written to the Vice Chairman as suggested by the Supreme Court, though we have had no reply. We should not keep quiet. Reminders should be sent, and we will present the matter again before the highest judiciary. We have approached the Speaker of the Lok Sabha and also Rajya Sabha, and we have had no response. So again we come back to the Supreme Court, we have to say. Recently Supreme Court has gone to the extent of declaring the result of voting in the Uttarakhand Assembly. The declaration was done by the Supreme Court. This is what I want to point to them, that there are instances when you have completely taken up the responsibility of running the state assembly. So why should we not interfere in this matter also? Somehow, persistently we should approach and we should find a solution. However, our effort, along with some of the demonstrations that were held by us, not by FRNV, they have had a very tangible effect because the behavior within the parliament has improved. Sonia Gandhi and party went outside the parliament house in order to demonstrate in the later parliament sessions. We had set up some vision as well as goals when we founded the institution. In the light of our experience during the past 8 years, a question arises: do we have to update our goals? Is there anything to be done with the vision or goals in general? Our decision is going to be very crucial. I would like you to understand it and deliberate on the subject very seriously and wholeheartedly and come to proper conclusions. We did not have a full-fledged office. Now we have taken a CEO, Srimati Anupama Jha. She will give a sustained functioning, she does a sustained functioning to the whole institution. Now, one point where apparently we are lacking and we haven't given attention is perhaps membership drive. Our membership should go on steadily increasing. I think it is for Anupama to take up the matter and see something very tangibly in that area. Similarly, fundraising also has to be done. While this is our CEO's job or task, the managing committee, which is there, they also have an important function. They have to activate themselves, include more people from the different areas, professionals and others, and then go on giving propositions, goals, etc. to the CEO and party. This is something that is very important. Value education is an important subject that we have taken up, but I feel we need not restrict it to the educational institutions alone. I am not going to elaborate on the subject, but I am presenting it in a seminal manner. Our whole corporate institutions, they also must have value, and their values are more important, are more immediately effective. Any kind of an industry, just like it has manpower and material, it must also have value as a resource. Now this value is very much necessary to bring more income and profitability, and also to see that it is sustained. What can we do in this area? I believe we can do a lot of research on behalf of the corporate organizations, and we can arrive at our own finding and also tell them how to implement. Let us do research for the sake of industries. Announce yourself that we will do value research for you, we will come up with schemes and also implement them for you. This is an area, I believe, which can be very usefully tapped. We have to be very vigilant in the matter of approaching the judiciary whenever there is a situation or a problem of a national damage. Our CEO and her group will have to be provided with specific goals and targets for which they will have to strive and which they will have to achieve. I think here comes a basic difference between the earlier working and the working that we are contemplating on now. Unless this difference is clearly felt and brought about, we won't be able to go forward effectively. I would like your deliberations to be specific and focused on these areas. Of course, You can add whatever else you have in our mind. This celebration, marking 8 years of FRNV's functioning, should verily mean a rebirth. It signifies that our efforts from now on should be rejuvenated. Obviously, with a greater focus and effectiveness. We must be able to find something tangibly so far as national values and their restoration are concerned. Come up with effective plans which will have immediate effect also. I think about it and go ahead. I wish you well. You know, I am a person who always wants to do things which will have immediate effect. Apart from FRNV, from Narayana Ashramata Bhavanam and also Hindu Navotthana Pradhishthan, we have filed PILs in the Supreme Court, but that is on a different subject. But in all these matters, we are very active and vibrant. So here also, I would like you to be active and vibrant so that good effects and immediate effects can be produced. Do well. You have my blessings and also inspiration. I wish all of you well. Hari Om Tat Sat.
After that stimulating message from Swamiji, may I please invite Dr. Sridharan to address the keynote.
Esteemed members of the FRNV, friends of FRNV, and distinguished guests. I am very happy to see many of you present here, and that gives us a lot of encouragement and inspiration. You have just now listened to the benedictory address of Puja Swamiji, Bhawan Ji. He has been our inspiration and guide in this FRNV movement altogether, right from the start. We were incorporated on 9th June 2008. Immediately after that, we conducted a national summit conference, which was explained by Gopal Ganesh ji. It was a resounding success. But unfortunately, we have not been able to follow up that enthusiasm and that efforts required to make the organization really very dynamic. The main reason was most of us involved in this FRNV's efforts, we were ourselves fully engaged professionals, not able to devote much time to the cause of FRNV. That was the main reason. Even so, I should say that we have been able to achieve some success in many areas, which were enumerated by Gopal Ganesh ji in his welcome address. But that's not enough. Only very recently we realized that unless we invigorate ourselves, make certain structural changes in the way we function, we will not be able to achieve the goals and visions of the FRNV. In that context only, we have now set up a permanent organization with Srimati Anupama ji as the Chief Executive Officer. We have now a permanent office in Shivalik, Malave Nagar, and she has got sufficient people to support her. We have slightly recast our management committee members also, And hereafter, we want to do things in a more vigorous and dynamic style. That is why we decided that we will organize a get-together on the 8th Foundation Day. Today we have requested you to come, not to speak to you, really speaking, because you know the aim of FRNV, what little we have achieved, but to make the organization more dynamic, what needs to be done. Instead of you are listening to us, we would like to listen to from you what ideas you have to make the organization more dynamic. That is why we thought we would request you all to come. We have a very eminent advisory board with us, and we intend now requesting the advisory board also to assemble in the next month or so to give us the required guidance and counseling how we should go about it. The flagship program of ours, no doubt today, is value education. We all strongly believe that if you are able to instill the values and ethics in the young generation, young people, they must be caught young, then at least the future generation, there will be a tangible change you can see. That is one area we have taken up very seriously, where we had been able to make some good progress, but that's not enough. We are now getting a full-time director itself in charge of the value education. We have realized that the value education should not be confined only within the schools. It has to start from homes as well. That is where we need your assistance, how we go about it. Because the young minds should be trained, should be molded from home as well as from the learning centers. This is very, very essential, how we go about it. So, as I mentioned, I'm not going into the details of what we have done so far, which has been very briefly explained by Gopal Ganeshji. What we should do, how best we can make the organization more effective to serve the people. The cause of FRNV is very, very laudable. And I'm very, very much encouraged to find many of you assembled here to assist us in this matter. So, as I mentioned, we would like to listen to you rather than speaking to you on what we intend to do. So, shall we start straight away? There's a mic available. Any of you wanting to speak, you are free to tell us what you feel like. We'll note down the points. And if some of you are not able to convey what you have in mind, you can send it to us by writing also. We'll take note of it. The main idea is we would like to learn from your past experience. Many of you are involved in very many organizations, I find, similar nature, with similar mission. How best we can work together, first of all. How best FRNV can do better. Swamiji has already given the blueprint how we should go forward. He has already given us. And he's always available also to give us guidance and inspiration. He's readily available. As I mentioned, the only thing is many of us are not able to concentrate on the working in the FRNV. For example, my own case, I am far away in Kerala. I am the president, the founder president of this organization. I've not been able to do much because I'm so busy in so many other ways. But that is no excuse. I know I haven't taken the leadership for the organization. That is no excuse. I must be able to devote more time. We have a system today already established that every first Tuesday of the month, our managing committee will meet in Delhi to take stock of what has been done, what is required to be done, what decisions have to be taken. This we do, and I've been able to attend at least this managing committee meeting regularly. And that itself is a good support that the members, people who are now involved in the FRNV, I mean, I find distinctly a great help to them in that respect. So now we would like to listen from you. There's a mic available which can be passed on.
Yeah, it's right here.
Right here. So kindly, as you like. without any hesitation, what, according to you, FRNV should do to take across our cause. The main thing is we have to cleanse the society. For the last 2 years, even though the new government is in power, I don't think our position from the corruption index as seen by the Transparency International, our position has not come down at all. We are still 175 or 176 still in the corruption index. This is the biggest challenge that we have. How do we tackle it? The other day,